Right, welcome back for this week's session of consciousness. We've got another great African son for us today, and that is Prince Sheriff Adebayo-Onisile. He's joining us all the way from Nigeria. Good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Right, thanks for joining us today. Prince Sheriff Adebayo-Onisile. If I'm going to introduce you, who is Prince Sheriff Adebayo-Onisile?
Sheriff Adebayo-Onisile is the prominent son of one of the royal families from Oyo Alafin in Oyo State, Western Nigeria. I am born to the family of Prince Adebayo Atingisi. My dad was popularly known as Atingisi in Oyota. And I graduated from Ahmadu Bello University with my first degree, and my second degree I graduated from University of Ibadan with MSc in Housing Development and Management. And I've worked as a lecturer at the Federal Polytechnic in Laro, and I also work as assistant training manager with the Nigerian Tobacco Manufacturing Company, a subsidiary of Flour Mills Nigeria Limited, before I sojourned for a few years in the Netherlands. And when on return to Nigeria, I started a private business and a building expert right now in Nigeria. So currently undertaking several building projects and Lagos and Ogun State. I am married with children, and I am a justice of peace of Oyo State. Hence the JP, on my name.
That is attached to your name.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. Just for us to fly with what we've got today, we're just going to talk about generational wealth, especially within the African community. Some will call it Black community, but I mean Black African within that community. You've heard about Dr. Umar Johnson's views about these, about what we're not doing. And if I look back, I know that in those days, our fathers and our parents, our grandfathers, they always have this one as a duty for them to build wealth for their children. But over the course of time, we've seen that has changed. And I'm going to play the audio of Dr. Umar Johnson, and then I will take your perception. For those that are listening to us, Prince Sheriff Adebayo-Onisile is also a Pan-African exponent or proponent, if I get it very well.
Yes,
So
I'm a strong believer in Pan-Africanism, and I've been promoting African unity and culture for quite a number of years. I've been to several places to participate in international conference on Pan-Africanism, and I've been guest speakers at some occasions where I preach and I taught Pan-Africanism to the young ones. Pan-Africanism is the future of Africa. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. We'll have time when we bring you back to really talk about African unity, about languages and diversity of culture. But for today, I will first get us to listen to this.
So here's the thing. We got to recognize that wealth is intergenerationally created. Most people who get rich don't get rich in a lifetime. Oprah, that's once in a while. Bill Gates, that's once in a while. Most people are intergenerational wealth. That means what? That Black people want to catch up. We have to start saving wealth and passing it to the next generation. Our biggest problem is that every time we splurge, we receive from our descendants. no inheritance. They get started. For the white child, they're starting out $100,000 plus, $1 million plus. And I think we have to become more strategic health plans as well as our life insurance plans. Because what I'm learning with a lot of these white folk, a lot of them are getting their first wealth through the life insurance policy of their parents.
We talk about that too.
Yeah, so
life insurance policy.
Yeah, so there's so many different strategies.
Okay, let me pause it there for now. Dr. Omar Johnson was talking about wealth, that the host community, and I mean, you are going to give us a perception about what is happening in Africa at the moment, but in Europe and the West, the host community, they have a sort of a plan for their children. And we know Africa used to do this before. So they start off their children on a certain level of wealth, which makes them to be ahead of others. Now, this value is being eroded within the African communities in the West, in the West and Europe. Majority of our children are trained to go to school, to graduate, and then to get into work. A sort of a work of 9 to 5, while we have the other part of the community where they are, packaging, if so to say, financially packaging their children to get on the property ladder, to get investment, and then for them to be ahead of others. So from your own view, is this what is happening in Africa? And if that is what is happening, why, if I could ask that, why do you think it's happening?
I think when we relate what Dr. Omar Johnson has just said to what is happening in Africa, we have to look at the dichotomy between African people and the black people in diaspora. You understand? Our circumstances diverse. So if we have to address this issue, we have to look at it from the perspective and from the context of the situation in Africa, which is quite different from the situation in the Western world. Actually, we have a lot of black people, in Western world that try to imbibe or imitate the white population, the white culture. But you see, the capacity of the black people, to imbibe 100% of the practice of the white people in terms of passing the generation wealth to their children and grandchildren is, has been grossly affected by racism. So they don't have the same opportunity. We have to look at it from that angle. So if I have to come home here in Africa, traditionally, our ancestors imbibe this culture and they pass it on over and over again because we have what is called family occupation. And the essence of family occupation is to empower the children to inherit whatever occupation the parents are involved in. The male child, the girl's child, they have, the female child, they have, different kind of line of business. So if a father is like for instance, if a father is a farmer, so he want to pass it on the male children. And if the mother is a adire maker, tie and dye maker, definitely she's going to pass it on to the female children in the family. But along the line, there's a kind of disconnection. And this disconnection, I can say, was influenced by a number of factors. There's so much poverty in Africa, and at the same time, by the time we try to imbibe westernization, we have a lot of a kind of a disconnection all along the line because our children's begin to look forward to white collar jobs. You understand that they are losing family values, abandoning the family business. But there are some occasions where you can point to some families that are doing well. So I think one of the foremost family in Nigeria, let's say in Africa, but I can speak much of Nigeria, is Adeola Odutola. Adeola
Okay.
Odutola, yeah, from Western Nigeria, a Yoruba man that became very rich, an industrialist, a philanthropist. He was able, to retain the wealth in the family, by incorporating the children into the hierarchy of the industry management, and they are doing fine. And when you look at Alazan Dantata in Kano, also, were able to find, the richest man in Africa today is a beneficiary of Alexander Tata because he's a grandchild of Alexander Tata. I mean, Aliko Dangote.
Dangote, yes.
So we can go on and on. Even Ibru, Alex Ibru too, is one of a family that we can point to that, they were able to pass on the wealth from generation to generation. There are some other families that are not noticed. There are some that try to, to pass on this wealth, they are unsuccessful. When you look at, there was a man, a very great man that I do respect his legacies, but unfortunately, everything went down now. Adebayo Dikon of Ibadan fame.
Yeah.
He was as out of early 1900s, 19 something. He was already trading with the Italians, with the British and everybody, and he built a lot of wealth. He built the best house in Africa by then. So, but along the line, I think the family fell off with the wealth and everything crumbled. And when you pass in front of his house, you can only say, "Oh, there was a great man that once occupied this house."
Yeah.
And we can talk of Agbaje also. We look at Agbaje family house in Ibadan at Ayeye. At that of the time Agbaje was reigning, he even built a private primary school in the compound. When you look at that house, you say, wow, this is an air device. And if an African man can build that kind of house at the era when they lived, there's enormous wealth in their possession. Agbaje family actually did well. We have the best legal luminary coming out of the family. We have a lot of medical doctors coming out of the family. Because this generational wealth we are talking about might not actually be in form of money. It might be skill, it might be properties, it might be knowledge, education that we pass on to the children and we sustain them in the future, and we can expand from there.
Yeah. Or even the name.
What Dr. Johnson was even referring to, it is not that the white community or the Western world also, succeed, record a kind of substantial success in their practice of, passing the wealth to their generation. We had some people that went bankrupt abysmally after the death of their ancestors, and they couldn't sustain the family, and you can only read about them in history.
Yeah, thank you very much. Because the aspect, one of the aspects we've looked at is that when you, some of the industries or companies here, you see some of these companies that they will, let's say you talk about Sainsbury's, you see some of them, they will put like, the company started in 1846 or 17 something, and they've been able to hold that on right up until now. But when we come to Africa, and let's even pick Africa generally, we really don't have this heritage of businesses that have been set as far back. I mean, Africa has a great history about our forebears going into businesses. We have like, let's say when we talk about Benin Empire, we can talk about the great thing they've done there. We talk about the Empire and on like that. And you just find out that we can hardly point at any heritage wealth or business that has sustained that period. Would you consider that this is due to political instability in Africa?
Partially, I will agree with you, but basically, we have a lot of factors that are plaguing African society, economically, politically, socially. So the Western world, they have the technological, scientific, industrial or capacity to repair, even if they are going distress. And educationally, they prepare their children. You understand, for
Yes.
future. They prepare their children to take over their fortunes. They have been learning about money management. They've been learning about capital markets. They've been learning about real estate investment. From the tender age, and they've imbibed a lot. But unlike Africa, we have our peculiarities. We are being plagued by a number of factors. When you make reference to 18 something, by 18 something, we had our, empires being invaded. As out of 19th century, we are being invaded by the so-called world powers. You understand? We are invaded by the Portuguese, by the French, and there's no, by the British, also by the Spanish. There's no way our civilization will not be truncated or in one way or the other, air down. Because whatever they make us do, they condemn it.
Yeah.
And they subdue us, to believe, to reason in their own way, especially in the Francophone countries. The French had a practice of assimilation instead of the British colonization system. Assimilation means you have to think like a Frenchman. You have to practice French culture. So, in other words, this affected us so much. We had a kind of disconnection from our heritage. There are a lot of plantations, possessed by our forefathers. And when the British came, when the colonialists came, they took over all our resources, and the children, the people that are supposed to benefit from all these resources, they were left in abject poverty. They came to Africa, they stole our resources, and they used it to develop their countries. You remember what happened in the Industrial Revolution in Great Britain? So, see what happened in France. They used the resources of Africa to develop their country, and they were able to do that because they enslaved us. It's like they put us in shackles while they were developing that. So we don't have the capacity to independently, rediscover ourselves and harness our potential, to maximally. So look at what happened in Belgium. I mean, what happened in Congo. Look at what the King Leopold II did to the Congolese. So when we talk on and on, you realize that we cannot compare the Western practice of wealth transfer. You understand, or generational wealth to that of Africa. There's a wide dichotomy, and we couldn't catch up to now. We couldn't catch up, but not that we are not trying. We are trying, but the locus of our misrulers, you understand, actually affected us. You understand, because most of them didn't pay attention to that. They have eaten up our past, they have eaten up our present, and they are still eating up our future, and in collaboration with the Western powers. Problem.
Okay. Let's you mentioned while we were talking that it's not just when we talk about generational wealth transfer, it's not just about money. It could be about skills, other things that could enable our younger generation to propel in life. And there's this question about during the time of I think it was UPN or so. There was a time with the school curriculum, there was a sort of a package of people having to studying what you can call like trade skills in those days. And I could remember very well that quite lots of machineries and equipments were bought for secondary schools. And those secondary school pupils or students were meant to take those courses alongside the other courses, maybe from the first year up till about the third year. But then those things were never used. They were just covered, and in a twinkle of an eye, they disappeared. Now, trying now to look at the educational curriculum in Nigeria today, and just as a template for the rest of Africa, if we look at our education, are we actually giving the children the skills to be able to propel in life beyond just looking for a 9 to 5 p.m. Job? I've given them other skills for them to go into other trades and prosper.
I didn't get you well. Come again, please.
All right.
The question, just the question. Don't repeat everything. Just the question.
Okay. The educational curriculum in Africa, using Nigeria, for instance, as templates. Are we, with the curriculum, the educational curriculum, are we setting up our children to propel in life, maybe in the area of business and other trades, beyond just looking for a job that is 9 to 5 p.m. Schedule? We prepare them for other things.
You see, this issue, I think, started the issue of 6334 system of education in Nigeria was introduced by the government of General Ibrahim Babangida. But prior to that, in the 60s, immediately after independence, the state government, regional government rather, established trade centers, what we call trade centers. They later changed them to technical colleges, and they have a number of trades or courses that are being offered to students. And these are designed to, to prepare Nigerians, to become skillful. So we have technical colleges all over Nigeria. We have the one in Kaduna. Later they changed it to Kaduna Polytechnic. One in Ibadan became Ibadan Poly. We had one in Osogbo, Ife. We had one in Yaba, became Yaba Tech, and we had one in Oyo. I'm a product of technical college. After I attended secondary modern school, which is equivalent to junior secondary school, and I proceeded to technical college. Then the idea was very productive, because when we were in technical colleges, you see conglomerate like Leventis, like CFAO, like Lever Brothers, like Cadbury, like even Nigerian breweries. They were coming to the school to recruit. Right from school, you get job before, the moment you are passing out from technical college, you are going into the industry, you are going to the field to practice. And even the technical colleges we had then were not enough. But the politicians, they misplaced priority. They didn't pay attention to that, field of studies or to that aspect of our, educational system. So the whole thing began to crumble. There was a program they called TTTP, Technical Teachers Training Program, in which they recruited product of technical colleges and they sent them abroad to go and study. And when they come back, they are expected to become teachers in technical colleges. But along the line, the whole program, the problem with Nigeria, we always have that good plans, but implementation is always the problem. So the same thing occurred to, happened to the 6334. When you look at the whole blueprint of 6334 system of education, whereby a child is supposed to spend 6 years, the first 6 years in the basic school, which is primary school, then there will be the first 3 years in the GSS, which is junior secondary school. Then another 3 years at the senior secondary school. Then the last 4 years you spend in the university. You understand? So at JSS, you can, by the time you are finishing GSS, you can shift over to a technical college and spend another 3 years, which will be equivalent to the SSS.
Okay.
See? Then from there, you can go up to university or go to polytechnic. But the problem are so enormous because the people that sat down and designed that educational system, most of them are civil servants. They are not technocrats, and they don't understand the nature of technical education. So you see, you could see a lot of holes in the whole system. Understand?
Sure.
When you shift to technical college from GSS, when you look at the age of a child, going to technical college, by the time you are entering technical college, you are expected to be taking courses which are science-based, because whatever we are doing at technical college are science-based. If you go for carpentry and joinery, you go for bricklaying and concrete making, if you go for automobile mechanics, vehicle body building, electrical installation, instrumentation, fitting and machining mechanics, catering and hotel management, and so on and so forth. You need basic science. And these are students that are coming from JSS that don't even have adequate, basic knowledge of sciences. Because at technical college, you have to take up courses like chemistry, physics, technical drawing, which are basic. And you cannot escape it. So at the end of the day, by the time they are exposed to the retraining of skill acquisition, they will be found wanting in the area of sciences. And science and technological, technology, they go hand in hand.
Yeah,
so
sure.
At the end of the technical college, we are producing technical college leavers that cannot fit in. They might acquire the skill, but the science behind the skill, they don't know it, they don't have it. So they cannot gain admission to university, they cannot gain admission into the polytechnics. As of the time we were coming out of technical college leaving certificate, like we have the City and Guild of London exam, which is professional, craft trading certificate, and laboratory test certificate. All those 3 certificates, are not part of the basic requirements that you can use to get admission into university or polytechnic as of today. So you have to go back and sit for GCE. So you can see the hole in the system. So which means a graduate or a school leaver coming from technical college already reached his bar. He cannot go further anymore.
Sure.
Because you have to end up in the industry and become a factory worker, so to say. understand? And that will limit your potential to rise in life, because the maximum you can reach in industry is to become a supervisor, a foreman, or a supervisor. So it will be hard for you to become a manager because you don't have the educational background to have necessary managerial skills. And moreover, we believe in paper qualification,
Yes.
not in ability or capability of individual. Secondly, the secondary schools that that were designed to, I mean, SS schools that were designed to cover technical subjects like metal work, wood work, building technology, electrical, automobile, technical drawing. The federal government then they sent a technical committee to two countries, Romania and Bulgaria, to purchase equipment for introductory technology subjects in secondary school. These are countries that possess inferior technology. You understand? Compared to a country like Germany, compared to country like England, I mean Great Britain or France or USA or even Japan. You understand? So by the time all these equipment arrive in Nigeria, the government are not even ready. The buildings and other infrastructures are not in place. So most of the schools they supply this equipment to had to put the equipment in the open compound where rain are beating them, and they don't even have adequate teachers because we were not adequately prepared then.
Yes.
We didn't pay attention to the training of technical teachers to effect the policy or the educational system. So at the end of the day, most of the schools were invaded by armed robbers. They carted away the equipment. And some of the schools that put the equipment into use, ended up abandoning them because these equipment are of low quality. You understand? Because they are coming from Bulgaria and Romania. And when you look at those ones they supply even to the north, some of them went up. They didn't even use them. Some of the school principals made sharp practices with them. They invited people from outside to come and buy them up. That was it. So that's why that system actually, crumbled. And at the end of the day, we went back to the old system of training our youth to become civil servant or office workers, and that comes down to your to your questions, and that is what is prevailing right now. When you look at most African countries, they pay attention to white collar jobs, and sincerely speaking, when you look at it, if you have two children, one is studying engineering and one is studying let's say economics or accounting at the university, you realize that a graduate of accounting have a potential to, to break through easily than the graduate of engineering, because our industries in Nigeria are dying daily, even the whole of Africa.
Yes,
they are dying. That is it.
Yeah. I think you're very correct. And we'll be going for a short ad break now. And when we come back, we'll continue with our chat with Prince Sharif Adebayo-Onisile, JP. Right, welcome back. We're still on with Prince. Prince, I'm going to show you a clip now, and believe that is something that you also will be able to relate with. So we'll get that one on.
How does the community take care of itself? According to a recent study, a single pound circulates in the Asian community days, in Jewish days, in white communities for approximately 17 days, and the black community we at the Black Wall Street UK.
Right. I don't know whether you get sound with that.
I got a sound, but the image is too small for my vision.
They are
I'm
quite
not
fast.
I'm not with my glasses.
That's fine. Let's see whether we can get this in a much wider context. Yeah, try to get that on.
Okay.
And then we'll make it this way. I think it should slightly be better that way. 1 minute, just 1 minute. Just make sure we get. Okay, and there's this.
How well does the community take care of itself? According to a recent study, a single pound circulates in Asian communities for 28 days, in Jewish communities for 20 days, in white communities for approximately 17 days, and the Black community 6 hours. This is what we at the Black.
Right. So what we have there is about money circulation within different communities.
Okay.
According to the creator of that video, they believe that a pound, and that's me talking about for those of us that are in the UK here, that a pound stay within the Asian community for 28 days. So that means he rotates around Asian businesses for 28 days before it goes out to other businesses. And for the Jews, they're of the opinion that a pound goes around 17 days within Jewish businesses before it will ever go out to any other business. And then when it comes to Africa, they said within 6 hours, to show that maybe Africans will prefer product from other communities. We prefer to, and this is going to be a bit expansive, so I want you to listen very well. So they have the opinion that money doesn't stay that long within African community, within African communities, because we prefer to spend our money for businesses in other communities. So that is one. Secondly, we've just few days ago, about 2 days ago, we have what they call Black Friday, where, commodities and stores, gadgets, as a giveaway price. There's a school of thought which believe that Africans spend massively for maybe products or things to show class. And of course, you've listened to severally on his view about the fact that even Africans that should save in order to move forward, that we're actually the one that is spending more to the detriment of our society. Now, that is for us that are in Europe and West. But I've also heard that even in Africa, and I'm still going to use Nigeria as an example, there has been some complaints in the past and even present that even our people that we don't like buying things that are produced in the country, that we prefer to buy things that are from abroad. While we have the issue about quality, but also majority of people think that maybe because we were colonized by Britain or the West, tend to veer towards purchasing things that come from the West rather than buying things that are by us. So are you able to connect these two video about money really not circulating within our community here? I mean, these are two those of us that are in Europe and West, we have that problem where We don't want to buy from businesses within our community, but we want to spend money out. And which we could see that the Asians and the Jews, those are the, major two communities that people will always point to in this country as communities that have moved on, of course, far ahead of Africa. So, you also have this other parts with Africa as well, where they prefer to buy things that are from the West rather than the ones that are produced at home. So, can you connect these two areas, these two parts, Africa and the West, and the way we prefer to spend money out rather than, if you're able to connect it, where is the problem and what is the solution in your own view?
Yeah, thank you very much. This has been one of the key issues in the campaign of Pan-Africanism, because we have been campaigning and creating awareness to Black people all over the world to patronize Black business, so that the Black business can sustain, can survive, and can expand. And it is when Black people's business sustain and expand, and that is when we can possess wealth. That is why we can create employment. You understand? But you see, this has to do much with the sensitization of Western products by our so-called leaders. You understand? Our leaders are not living by examples. You understand?
Yes.
Even when they steal money from public treasury, they take it abroad. So the money doesn't stay in our economy. So, and the kind of example they are living, for the citizens is quite bad, because they already acknowledge the superior status of Western world. You start from education. They have to take their children abroad to study, and they have to pay a lot of money to do that. You see, a single politician, spending huge amount of money that is on one child, that is enough to train 100 children here in Nigeria. But and secondly, this is relative to our psyche as a people, our mindset, as a people. Majority of Black people imbibe the idea of inferiority complex. So, and that is applicable to how the product we patronize in the market. So our mentality is in such that whatever that is produced locally is inferior to what is coming from abroad. Even on liquor, when you see a bottle of ogogoro that is about 45 or 50%, and you offer it to sell, people will, they will be pricing it at a very, very low price compared to the distilled spirit coming from abroad. So, not because the social status of the people consuming foreign goods, also attracts the people of lower class. So you cited the example of Japan and the Jews, whereby money is circulating, even the Indians also. But before India attained that level, they were also patronizing the West, both the Indian and Chinese. But Chinese were able to steal technology, just like the Japanese. Japanese also, they stole the Western technology. You understand?
Yeah.
But on our part in Africa, we try to transfer technology, but it is not easy for us to transfer. I think we need to steal the technology before we can progress forward. Otherwise, we will continue to depend on them for quality products. And I have to tell you this: the product coming from our people also our local industrialists, they are of low quality. We have to say that because we compromise quality, we are so corrupt. Our quality control system, we compromise all the ISO, whatever, International Standard Organization recommendation. They will compromise everything at the tip of any, little amount of money. So, and that is why money cannot be retained in African society. We have to patronize the Jews, we have to patronize the German, we have to patronize the Chinese, we have to patronize the highest investors in Africa now, they are the Chinese. They are building our railway, building our houses, building our roads. Whereas we have local contractors that could do this. But when they do it, the whole system will be corrupted, and the quality of whatever they are doing, either the service or the manufactured products, will be so poor that they will not be durable. So, and that is why when you hold your money, you sweat to acquire your money. You have to look for where to spend it, where you can use it to buy something of high quality that can sustain you and even durable. So I think that is the major problem we have in that line. But as for the solution, I think we need to change our perspective. We need to change our reasoning. We need to change our psyche. We need to change our mentality. And, most importantly, we need to change our attitudes. And that's our attitudes towards corruption. Because corruption seems to be a kind of culture. If you deviate from from compromising or from cooperating with what people are doing, they see you as a mentally deranged person, and they will even be mocking you. And that is why all sorts of fake products, low standard products are coming into Nigeria from China. So that is it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prince Sharif Adebayo-Onisile, JP. You've actually hammered a very, very important point, especially letting our people know that if it is not good quality, definitely people will not buy. People will want to spend their money and get quality for their hard-earned money. So we need to change that perception. Someone has also mentioned that businesses in Europe also, that people need to work on their customer service, so that when people come to buy, the fact that you know them or you know that they are from Africa, that shouldn't give an excuse to just behave anyhow. Even if they are wrong, they will say there's a way you treat customers. So that goes side by side with people that have businesses, and those businesses, they have quality products. They should also work on their customer service. Why for the other one? I know the government has a lot to do when it comes to standardization of materials and or stuffs in Africa generally. We're hoping to have you back at a point. Thank you very much for joining us on this show. Thank you very much. We will definitely we will have you back on some other.
Thank you very much, and God bless you. May God continue to strengthen you.
Thank you very much.
It's a very laudable program. Yeah.
Thank you.
I commend your effort too. Kudos to you. More strength.
Thank you very much.
One love forever.
One love.
Okay.
Bye for now. Bye.